Hello everybody, this is Astocky here and welcome back to the Real KSP Campaign. First things first, in the last episode I spoke a little bit about some issues with deadly reentry and how I thought I might need to take it out. Well, it turns out the Ferram's aerodynamic research mod had updated to improve the aerodynamics, and part of that was they had messed a little something up that meant re-entry for command pods didn't quite work correctly. So it's updated again. It's now up to 0.9.3 and it's fixed that problem. So here I am, I'm at my forum thread. You can see the forum thread number up there, but it'll also be in a link in the description. It's also got a link to all the videos. So yeah, it was Ferram Aerospace research that is updated and needed to be fixed. So that's going to stay in, which is really awesome. But now we need to pick a mission. So in the last mission I launched myself, actually it says down here what I did. I launched myself a communications relay station. So what I'm going to do this time is I'm going to launch some satellites. Now in terms of the actual missions that they're going to complete, they're pretty much just going to be these orbit missions, but they're going to be probes, so they're going to be half that price. So they're going to be, each mission is going to be worth 20,000 because they're probes, and then each one after the first one that I launch is subject to the 50% reduction penalty. So that means that the first one will be worth 20, the second one will only be worth 10. So that's why having all the money that I have at the moment, which is 180k, is really good. I'm also hoping that I'm going to get an achievement. Well, I will get an achievement for first satellite, and I'm hoping to get an achievement as well for first geosynchronous orbit. Now, at least geosynchronous orbit, Kerbal Space Program Wiki, geosync, it's like 2,800 and, there we go, somewhere over here. Sidereal synchronous orbit, there we go. I'm going to write that number down because that number is going to be very important to me. It is 2868.75 kilometers. So that's a pretty high altitude, and it's going to be ever so difficult to get to, but we may as well start now. The actual goal I'm setting myself is to get the satellite into a circular orbit, so I'm not specifically aiming for geosynchronous or geosynchronous, whatever you want to call it. But if I can get it to that altitude, I'm going to. So the actual goal is to be an orbit greater than 1 million, but you know, we'll see how things go. So I'll see you guys inside Kerbal Space Program. Back soon. Okay guys, so here we are back inside the Kerbal Space Program, and we're going to start by going to the tracking station and having a look at my station. Everything goes well. The mission time for this station is currently been 12 minutes, so it hasn't been going for very long. Just got to wait for everything to load up. Here we go, out of contact. That is not even slightly important. What is important though is the number of resources and things that it has. I'm just going to minimize that down. I have also updated to the latest version of the Kerbal alarm clock, which I'm not going to put any alarms for at the moment. We're on the shady side of the planet at the moment, so you can see it's draining our power quite quickly, but we have a fair bit of oxygen left and a fair bit of carbon, well, and our carbon dioxide is disappearing quite quickly. So we've been through a bit less than 1,000 oxygen, so we've got to, I think we're going to have to watch that quite carefully actually. Rocket Max fuel tank, there you go. That is our integrated life support converter. So we're going to turn that thing on, and it's going to turn away, get rid of the carbon dioxide, and turn it into something good. We're not going to use the scrubber because the scrubber will just get rid of carbon dioxide, but not turn it back into oxygen. So as much as we can, we want to keep that oxygen. So, well, everything seems to be working just like it should. We've got these 3 guys here. I'm just going to every mission switch back to these guys just to check how their electric charge and their oxygen levels are going, and in the event that something isn't going that well for them, I'll see if I can bring them back to Earth. But for now anyway, it is time to launch the next mission. So the next mission is going to be a probe. A simple little probe. It's going to need a bat bank because it's going to need to have quite a bit of power. The next thing that it's going to need, I'm not sure if it's in utility or scientific, is it is going to need an antenna. So we're going to get ourselves right up on top, because that antenna is going to allow it to communicate, because without it it's going to be useless. Now the next thing I'm going to do is come pretty much side on. Oh, those are big antennas. Yeah, those are much more normal looking satellite dishes. So we've got the antenna, the two satellite dishes. Now I don't know if this is absolutely necessary for it to have one of these, but I am going to put a Kerbal flight engineer on this side, so I know all about my rocket, and then on the other side I'm going to put a radiothermal generator. You must be in utilities. There we go. Now the aerodynamic mod doesn't like you putting these just on the side like this. They kind of end up breaking. So the way I'm going to try and mount it is I'm just going to clip it into the side of the vehicle a little bit. That won't totally work though without Alt F12. Some of you might think this is a little cheaty, but rest assured it's not, because I say it's not. I mean, it's going to need a lot more power than just that anyway, which is why it's got the giant battery bank. And now we're going to get to how we actually get this thing up into orbit. So we want the smallest fuel tank we can get. Now that's a little bit too small, I think. Got our two RCS fuel tanks, we don't want those. The Oscar B. That might even be a tiny bit too small. That is most definitely too big. An FT200. Well, that's definitely going to give me enough fuel to get it into a synchronous orbit. So let's get our engines now. No, that's like a ridiculous amount of fuel. Let's back away from that. I need something that's like this but a little bit bigger. What's that got? 5.7 and 7. How much do these have? 10 and 12. These are actually better. Okay, so we're going to use these. What we're going to do though is we're going to stack them. I'm going to go for 4 of them, because that's a fairly good size, I think. And then back into utility, we're going to, not the Gigantor solar arrays, we're going to go for the 2 per second, 2 per second. That's a small looking one. I don't know which kind of solar array is which, but whichever one is whichever one, I'm going to put 2 of those on there, and they will basically fold out, and that will provide the power to charge the battery bank. Now the final thing I'm going to need is an engine, and we are going to use the Atom Ant, or the Ant, whatever they call it. It's a tiny little engine. You can see the thrust to weight ratio is just minuscule, and actually the ISP is even rubbish. But the engine weighs 0.03, so it weighs basically nothing. Like that one there is just way heavier. It'd be ideal to get something that's about this size, but realistically that's actually not much better than RCS. I could have just gone for a small RCS tank. I wonder if RCS has an ISP. All these things you never think of until later. RCS doesn't count as propulsion, does it? No, it does not. Control? There you go. Vacuum ISP 260. So this has got 290, so that's at least a little bit better. But what we need now anyway is a decoupler. Something of the right magnitude. Actually, that could work. Yep, a little tiny decoupler on the end there. Yeah, this is definitely going to need some struttage though. So, structure, strut. Let's go for 4 times symmetry. There we go. I knew there was a way to zoom in. Okay, so there we go. Hold it together. Now I better zoom back out because that's a bit too close. So delta V, that's given me a lot of delta V, but it's not going to be useful until I get out of the atmosphere. So that's where I'm going to stick that on there. And I'm actually thinking a single engine might be sufficient. What do we got? Nearly 5,000 delta V. That is actually pretty good. So let's stick on some canards. Oh wow, those are expensive. $500 each. It's not like a cheaper way, is there? In fact, you know what? Who even needs canards? I mean, this thing has an engine that's got lots of power. Yeah, it's gonna be absolutely brilliant. We are going to call this relay sat 1. Save that. And that's actually quite a bit better than I thought it was going to be. Only 7,470. And that means, yeah, that means it's going to be brilliant. I am super happy with this. Well, I'm super happy with this as long as everything goes correctly. So we're going to bring up our orbital stats. Gonna 3, 2, 1, go. Now, hold on. Actually, there's an even bigger issue here. We shouldn't have actually just taken off then. I'm going to end the flight because that shouldn't have worked because this is a probe. So when we go to vehicle assembly building, I think I'm going to have to add something else in there. Because what should have happened is when I put that probe in, it shouldn't have worked without a remote control module. Because it should be built into the module now that I shouldn't have to add that. But we're going to try again, because basically what it should come up with is a box that says it's out of contact. And it didn't, which is annoying. 8270, because these probes should have that built in. I might have to have a look at this. I might have to have a look at this and try and work out what went wrong. There should be a box. There we go, the box that pops up. So it's currently on local control, but local control doesn't work because I don't actually have a connection. So what I have to do is come up here and deploy the antenna, and that will allow it to work now. So we're going to try this again, and hopefully this time things will work a little bit better. So 3, 2, 1, launch. I'm going to have to manually make sure I maintain some stability here. There we go. I'm going to back the thrust right off. So once I get myself up to an orbit that's a bit more stable, I will kind of show you how this should work. I've got to really try and, as quickly as I can. Oh, that did not go that well. Something. Wow. Okay, without SAS on, this thing is just ridiculously bad. Okay. I think we might have to call this the loss of a probe, because there is like no stability in this thing. Okay, come on, come on, come on. Yep. Maybe we might still make it. No. There's definitely something that's a little off center there. Actually, I guess we can't end the flight. Although the system has kind of messed itself up. I wonder if I can soft land this probe so I can save it at least. There's definitely a giant issue with this thing, and I'm thinking that the difference is that and the fact that the Kerbal engineer weighs nothing means that it's off balance, and the first chance it's getting, it's just spiraling out of control. It's going to be a pretty spectacular crash though, and that's going to be $8,270 down the drain. Wow. That was expensive. But back to the VAB. I was really hoping I wouldn't just blow up my very first one. I mean, that's most uninspiring. But we're going to have to take that off and dump that. So at least the price has come. That couldn't have been that expensive, could it? Yeah, 1,300. Wow. Okay, so the price has now come down to 6,970. But because of those ever so slight stability issues I had, I'm going to go for some I mean, it really does seem like a bit of a waste to me, but I'm going to stick these on anyway and get the FAR open. Let's go to static. Let's sweep the angle of attack. Control surfaces, stall at 22. We've got them set to 15. That's perfect. It's put the price up quite a lot now to 8,970 as opposed to the 8,270 that I had before. But at least this time it should be stable enough to get into orbit. So we're going to call this Satellite 1B. Satellite 1, of course, being, well, lost. I've also substantially cut my delta V as well, which is probably not a good thing. Okay. Deploy the antenna. Let's throttle up. SAS on. Let's take off. Let's take SAS off. Tilt myself just over just a tiny bit. It didn't really like SAS then, did it? SAS just made it spin like a crazy thing. Oh, gonna have to go for precision controls. There we go. I wonder if I can get SAS to hold it. Oh wow, it's got some funky rotational stuff happening. Just needs to hold it until it gets to orbit. Just needs to hold it until it gets to orbit. Come on, you can do it. What's my apoapsis going to be? 30 kilometers. Come on, seriously thing. Hold. Okay, we're doing okay now. going to boost this up as high as I can now. You can see that the apoapsis is going up, which is good. Now what we're going to do is tilt this over to the 90-degree mark and then just hold it there and keep burning. As soon as we get out of the atmosphere, I'm going to deploy those solar panels, but basically you can see we have a blue line here connecting us to the Kerbal Space Center that is basically being it's basically being our ability to control this probe. Now I was hoping that that would actually be around here, so that as soon as I left Kerbal Space Center I could communicate with that, but that hasn't turned out to be the case. And now I'm also questioning if I have sufficient delta V to get this probe into the orbit that I want. Because I mean, this is coming down, but it's not coming down anywhere near fast enough. So we're gonna can't warp while the ship is throttled up. What we're going to do now is make sure that at the very least we have plenty of power for this thing. Loads of power. I mean, we've got heaps of fuel left. You can see how slowly we're using it, but can't help but think maybe a ship with more fuel would have been better. Going to go for... Yeah, I thought I could go for physics warp here. Oh, there we go, I can go for physics warp. You got to hold down the Alt key to get physics warp. Thinking we are about to lose a second probe, and this is not all that good for the space program. We're gonna keep our nose up a little bit because we want to really not lose too much altitude, and I mean, we are about to pass the curvature of the Earth and lose control of this probe, so yeah, I'm very concerned for my poor probe. I just can't see any way that... what just happened? Out of contact. Oh, I should have just gone. Okay. Yep. You're about to see what happens using remote tech when you lose control of your probe. That is to say, nothing good happens. My probe is now coming back in at speed. I can't even, I can't even fold these in, I don't think. Oh no, I have the power to fold those in. But we are re-entering. We're losing bits and pieces. We have lost the probe. Oh, wow, that felt... that didn't just feel expensive, that was expensive. What did we do? Everything just deployed and exploded and we died. Back to the VAB. Now, clearly, there's an issue with that design. And the issue appears to be that there is not sufficient fuel and delta V to get me where I need to go. So I don't know. Yeah, for some reason the struts wouldn't let me attach that. Okay, there was a bug with those struts for some reason, never mind. we'll add some new struts, because we still want this to be nice and stable. 4. So that's still going to be nice and stable and still going to hold itself together. We're going to need ourselves a little poodle engine. And you are correct in thinking that this is going to really drive up the cost of this vehicle, but after 2 mistakes by trying to be too cheap and having everything just, you know, die on me, I'm willing to make a concession on price. You know, and I haven't driven the price up all that much. I still have good thrust to weight ratios. Now I have loads of delta V. Haha. Get away. So yeah, I'm definitely feeling a lot more confident about this design now. So what was the price? 11170. And you are going to be Relay Sat C. Save. Launch. I can't believe how bad this has gone. Up until this point, most things went really well. Okay, let's deploy the antenna. Now this time, we are not doing anything until I make sure that the space station is in the correct spot, which is somewhere around about here. Okay. So actually, no, if I put it directly overhead, it's moving quite a bit faster than I am. So it should be in the right spot when I need it. So we are now good to launch. It's a nighttime launch, but that's okay. Oh no, I've lost my flight engineer. I need my flight engineer. Now you might wonder why it is that I'm kind of pitching over so early, and basically the reason that I'm pitching over so early is because with the FAR mod, with the FAR aerodynamics on, it doesn't like you trying to get to 10 kilometers and then pitch over really quickly. It prefers a much more sort of slow and gradual pitch, and you have to actually do quite a lot of fighting to actually fight the control that the aerodynamics puts on the rocket, basically. So it's kind of a whoops, that's not good. That means I'm going way too fast at way too low an altitude. So I need to slow down, pitch nose up, so I get a lot higher. Oh wow. Okay, cut throttle. What is going on here? Something has just gone crazy. Okay. This is not good at all. I think we have just lost another probe, and I don't even know why we lost it this time. Okay. Maybe we can save this. It's not looking very likely, and I don't know why my Kerbal engineers disappeared. Now this should have had a greater than 1 thrust ratio. Okay. Okay, we're climbing back up now. We're climbing back up. I'm hoping I may have just saved the flight. I don't know what's happened to my my Kerbal engineering display though. What should happen now is I get a little bit further out and then I should connect up with this one. Because I should, yeah, I can definitely make a line of sight to it from where I am. Okay. Definitely got a lot less speed than I was hoping for. And my apoapsis is definitely way lower than it should be. I think I'm going to end up with this tiny little ant engine again, trying to get myself into orbit. Yeah, I mean, I'm going to struggle just to manage to push this thing out of the atmosphere. That's pretty much what I'm looking at the moment. But the thruster weight's definitely going up. We're accelerating at 2 Gs now, so it might not be as bad as I had first thought. Although, wow, that fuel is running out so quickly. Really got to push this up and out. I mean, it's definitely pushing a long way out, which is a good thing. I guess we just... what are we up to? Oof. What we are clearly demonstrating here is that I have an issue with probe design. Now this time I don't actually know what the issue is. Like, I thought I had this under control. I thought I knew exactly what I was doing. See, I've got the switch over happening perfectly. I'm on the way back down though now, unfortunately. And this probe is going to re-enter hard. And this is going to be an episode of just failure after failure after failure. But this is going to be a long episode, because I am not going to stop until something succeeds. Here we are. We are once again about to hit re-entry at full speed. We shall have good contact though. We didn't... oh, maybe we do. I was going to say, I don't even think we had enough velocity to cause re-entry effects, but... turning the little SAS off was probably not the right idea. Oh, let's save fuel. Let's point retrograde. See if we can caress this down into a gentle explosion. Oh. We're now out of contact. So we're now going to do what every good vehicle in Kerbal Space program does, and we're going to explode. How's that doing? It is doing beautifully. Wow. I can't believe at the beginning I said, for every successful mission I'm going to do this. Wow. I'm going to get like 25,000 for this mission, and I've just spent more than that in 3 failed probes. Let's just accelerate this down to ground a bit. This better be a splashdown. I can't afford the extra fine for debris. Perfect. Okay. Back to the vehicle assembly building. Now, I don't know exactly what was the cause of my last failure, but I'm willing to bet more fuel will fix it. I've substantially dropped my thrust to weight ratio, but now I have oodles more fuel, huge amounts of delta V, and dare I say I would have to be incompetent to not be able to get this thing into orbit. I say dare I say because there are a couple of other revisions of this probe that are seriously questioning my competence as a probe flyer. But I'm feeling better about this one. Better is not the same as good. Where is my probe? I'm gonna warp things around. My Kerbal engineer has definitely bugged out again. I should stop paying for this thing, it keeps bugging out on me. Okay, there we go. Okay. 3, 2, 1. Find controls. Launch. Pitching over now while it doesn't have any control over me. Gotta keep the nose pointing up while it accelerates. Oh wow, it's actually quite heavy. I'm kind of using the limit of my vectored thrusting to try and keep it up. Trying to keep it nose up. This is again not going that well. Thankfully we're not going anywhere near as fast as we were previously, so it should be less of an issue. And these fins are giving me some good stability, which is excellent. I'm wondering if maybe I haven't got the fins quite centered. Because that could be what's causing my rotational issues. Okay, there we go. Got it a lot more under control now. Okay, I'm feeling fractionally better about this. What just happened? Oh no! Oh no! Look. Nobody saw anything that time. We're going to pretend that mission never even happened. Technically I'm cheating, but I'm only cheating myself. Yeah, I'm only cheating myself, and I'm cheating myself because I've lost my Kerbal engineer. That's my excuse and that's what I'm sticking with. I can't believe this game. I mean, this is going to be like an hour-long episode if I didn't cheat then. Got some weird and funky wobblings happening there. Basically I've got my fins fighting themselves to try and keep it normal, and they're pitching too hard, it's just causing them to stall. It's all bad. The important thing though is the trajectory we're taking is putting us out over the ocean, so every time we screw something up, at least we're screwing it up into the ocean, so that's alright. So where is... Yeah, that's got quite a long ways ahead of me. So what's my apoapsis up to? 18 kilometers. I'm going to use this to boost me as high as I can. That's why I'm not pitching over more like I normally would, because I want to push this thing up really high. I'm hoping if I can push it up nice and high, that those issues I had earlier aren't going to be as significant. And I mean, I'm going for a big orbit anyway, so it doesn't matter if I push this quite a long way out. Okay, cut throttle, ditch that. Fire up the engine, boost slowly, hold that there, throttle up. Okay, we're going good now. And my flight engineer's just turned back on. What in the heck just happened? Now I really don't know what's going on. Okay, I'm going to start by trying to boost this thing up to about a 250 kilometer orbit or so, and then we'll see how we go from there. Although I'm really pushing this out nicely sideways, which is good. I do want to keep an eye on how much of this fuel I've got left though, because I do need to use that to circularize. So that's the reason I'm not boosting higher to start with. Although to be fair, it's probably not too bad. I might go for 300. It looks like I have heaps of fuel left, so 300 is probably not bad. I know I've just passed 300, but this is coming up, this periapsis is coming up so quickly and I have so much fuel left. I'm thinking of going for like a 500. I want that to come around though, because that's going to be what's going to help save me. I know I just passed 500. I can't even stick with what I'm saying. But I definitely want to get this up as high as I can. You know, if I could get this up to above 70, so that at least I'm in a stable orbit, I'll be willing to stick with that. So what do I need to get to? 2868. That's a big orbit. That is a really big orbit, and I'm still currently talking to Kerbal Space Center, but if I accelerate now, you'll see that pretty quickly I'll pass into the shadow, and then this thing will take over. Now I have a long way to go before I get out to my apoapsis, so we're going to need to, where are they? There we are. Don't give me, can't extend those solar panels. Status retracted. Whoa, 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 whoa. What do you mean? I can't extend my solar panels because the ship that I was relying on for communication has gone around. I waited too long. At least I still got, that's why I gave myself a big battery. Got plenty of charge left. There we go. Back in communication now. I once again have control. So let's extend these. This whole remote tech, I just love the challenge that it adds. Yeah, that's charging up really quickly now. But what I have to hope is that when I get up here to my apoapsis, that actually what I'm going to do, it says my apoapsis. I want to add a maneuver. I want to burn until my periapsis is up to about the same. That's perfect. So I need to burn 432. So let's go to Flight Computer. Let's point at the maneuver node. We're going to go for 100% throttle. So we say we want to burn, we want to do delta V. We want to burn 432 meters per second in 003505. Send. So everything goes well. This probe should now point at that maneuver node and fire itself up and burn the way it's programmed to. Of course, it's probably not going to have 432 meters per second to burn. But I guess we're about to see how this works, because I don't think it's going to make another orbit and get back to me in time. There we go, we've lost it. It's still saying it's still sending the command, so this could work. Ah, there you go. Kerbal Space Center is now pointing at us anyway, so we should be okay. I'm very interested to find out whether this works or not. I have never tried doing this before, and I'm really curious to see. In 12, 11, 10, in 10 seconds it's going to start. 4, 3, 2, 1. And it's started. It's aiming at the maneuver node, and it's burning. So what are we in now? We are basically... Are we talking... Let's delete that maneuver node. Yeah, I wanna... We should be basically in a turbo-stationary orbit. So we're probably not exactly turbo-stationary, because that needs to be 868, and that would also need to be 868, so we're probably very fractionally off, but I would say so little. Yeah, I would say so little that it really shouldn't matter. Yeah, orbital period is 15 seconds shy of 6 hours, and 6 hours would be the orbital period that we would actually need to give ourselves an exact turbo-stationary. So I wonder if I can just touch this a tiny bit and up that orbital period a fraction. That's probably not brilliant, but there you go, we're now slightly slower than turbo-stationary. What's our inclination? Let's target the MUN, set as target. The inclination difference is 0.2. Okay, so that's not brilliant. Yeah, that's not entirely brilliant, but I mean, in terms of actually launching a probe and getting something to succeed, we have achieved it. And we've still got this whole tank here worth of fuel left. Vessel, let's see what it says about the vessel. We've still got 1300 meters per second of delta V, so we could still potentially deorbit this thing. So I'm feeling really good about this. This is like exciting. Got a bunch of fuel left in this stage. Got like these 4 little tanks here full of fuel. We have the 2 satellite dishes. That each have a range of 50 million kilometers. This one here has a range of 8 million, so it's a bit smaller. But I can click on these dishes and I can point them, and the altitude of the moon is 11.4 million kilometers. The altitude of Minimus is 46, so this satellite can without too much trouble communicate all the way out to Minimus. So I think in the next episode, I was actually hoping to launch 3 or 4 of these this episode, but clearly that is not going to happen. So what that means now is I need to launch probably at least another 2, maybe a couple more in the future. I guess we never know how many we're going to need, but this is going to be the backbone of our mission, both to the moon and to Minimus. So I'm glad you guys finally saw me succeed in something, and if we come back in a few moments, I will tally up the failure, the failure, the failure, the failure, and then the success. So see you guys soon. Okay guys, so here we are, we're back at the forum thread. Let's check how we did. We didn't lose any crew, so that's good. Didn't do any development vehicles, although the first 3 probably should have been. But missions. We put a probe into orbit, so that's 50% less, so that's 20,000 successful for that mission. So we got plus 20. I'm not even going to tally up yet how much I spent on those crazy stupid things that I blew up. Now I have my space lab, which gets me an additional 10,000 per successful mission due to scientific stuff. So that's plus 10,000. The final probe cost me 12,770. So I'll bring my calc out. So 12,770 divided by 2. So that got me a bonus of plus 6,385. So now we'll come down a bit. I didn't have a target or anything like that. Achievement bonus. First satellite, that gets me 5,000. And then I got first geosynchronous orbit. That's an additional 5,000. Now I can only get those achievements once, which is not that great. And I need to get another 9 satellites up to get the next achievement bonus for satellites. But did we get any penalties? Did we have any landfalling debris? No, we did not, which is fantastic. We burn up a lot of debris. Some of it survives, surprisingly, but it splashed down in the ocean, which is good. Any crew deaths from explosion? No. Any crew deaths from suffocation? No. Any EVA deaths? No. Any crashes? No. So there was no mission penalties. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to edit this post, and I'm just going to put the details of mission 3 right here so you guys can see it. So mission 3, and this is going to be the tally. Almost like a mission wrap up. So launch comms sat 1 to Keo sync ish orbit. So result. Wow. Built ships. So how many ships did I build? So the first one cost me 8,270. The second one cost me 8,970. The third one cost me 11,170. The fourth one cost me 12,770. Yeah, I will say my Kerbal engineer did work. So it was the fifth ship that eventually actually worked. So got fifth revision into orbit. So that's my plus 20k. 2 achievements. We got plus, what were they? They were plus 5k plus 5k. 5k plus 5k. Better note what they were just so I remember. Satellite, Keo sync. Then we got the 50% of the ship value back, which is plus 6.385. 50% ship return, and I've noted down here that I should have had plus 10,000 for something as well, although so that was plus 20. No, I think I got a little crazy thinking I was deserving of an extra 10. Wow. So now the total is equal to 180.968. I really thought I was doing quite well. Like, I thought when I had 180,000, I thought, wow, I'm going to like fund the next 100 satellites and all the additional missions and everything's just going to be brilliant. But it turns out, when you're not yet competent, things go really bad. Plus 20k, plus 5k, plus 5k, plus 6.385k. For a grand total of I wish I could do that. I can't do that in my head, sorry. Now I'd also be interested to know if you guys want to see this kind of stuff at the end, or whether you guys just want me to just do it all and just tell you what the final result is and just kind of show you the outcome, or whether you guys aren't really interested in that kind of thing at all and you just want to see like a spreadsheet. Plus 20, plus 5, plus 5, plus 6.385. There we go. So my grand total, 163.403. That is not really the best total. In fact, I think you'll find that I went backwards by 20,000 in launching that mission. And that's not good. But I think everyone will agree I had more than $20,000 worth of learning experience. In fact, what I really think I've learned from this, and this goes out to all you guys out there as well who are potentially thinking of doing the same thing, don't stinge on a $1,600 fuel tank to put a $12,000 or $13,000 probe at risk. It is just a ridiculous idea. It's just not worth it. Don't do it. So to come to an end, that is the end of the third mission. ComSat 1 is now in geosynchronous-ish orbit. I really hope you guys are enjoying the series. Like I said, I'm just loving this. I think this is fantastic. I'm really glad that the whole far deadly reentry thing got sorted out, so I can eventually, when I'm going to need to, I can get my space lab to re-enter. That was the additional 10k. That was my 10k research bonus. See, it's coming back to me. Plus 10k bonus. Plus 10k. Look at that. We are so awesome. So awesome. So again, thank you very much for watching. Astocky out.